The hunter Halthete has passed beyond the official borders of the Shire and through Buckland into the Old Forest. This is a region of ancient power and mystery, where nature itself rebels against the free peoples of Middle-earth. In this episode, we will be exploring the fractious relationship between the forest and the Hobbits of Buckland, the strange powers that dwell within the forest, and look to what may well be the most enigmatic intelligence in the whole of Middle-earth. The Old Forest is an ancient and oppressive area between the Shire and Bree. It is located on the eastern border of Buckland, a border that has been contested. The hobbits living near the Old Forest have always believed it to be awake and malevolent. There are stories of whispers in the night, of trees moving when there is no wind, and of paths changing to waylay travellers through the forest. Indeed, these are more than mere ghost stories to scare hobbit children. The Old Forest, along with Fanghorn, was one of the forests which the elves awoke and taught to speak many ages past. Much of the original magnificence of the original forest has gone as a result of the harvesting of lumber by men and the burning by the forces of Sauron during the Second Age. The remains of the forest are barely a shadow of their former glory, nestled between Buckland and the Barrow Downs. The hobbits built a huge hedge to keep the forest from encroaching into Buckland and to keep the creatures that live there out of Hobbitland. This hedge is known as the High Hay. Within the High Hay is a short tunnel and a locked door. This is to allow passage into the Old Forest by the Master of Buckland or anybody that the Master granted passage to. The forest did not appreciate the hobbits' attempts to tame it, and so moved against the hedge one night. The hobbits were so alarmed by this that they chopped down all the trees next to the hedge and built a huge bonfire of the wood. Since then, the trees have never encroached again, but the menace of the forest increased. The area of the Old Forest as you pass beyond the High Hay has been known as the Bonfire Grove ever since. Unlike other such forests, the Old Forest currently has no Ents shepherding the area. The reason for this is unknown, but it might be possible that the presence of the most mysterious power in Middle-earth has something to do with it. The Withywindle flows from the Brandywine through the Old Forest, and many hobbits of Buckland believe that this is the source of much of the strangeness concerning the Old Forest. It is by the Withywindle that you would find the house of Tom Bombadil and Goldberry. Tom Bombadil is the strangest being. He clearly has power beyond reckoning. When Frodo's company of hobbits came across the area, they were lulled into a sleep by a particularly hateful willow, known as Old Man Willow. With the hobbits asleep, Old Man Willow began to enclose the halflings in his grasp, and were nearly suffocated. However, Tom Bombadil was walking by at the time, and responded to the pleas of Frodo and Sam. He demanded that Old Man Willow release Merry and Pippin, and the bitter tree was forced to comply, as Tom is master of the wood. Tom even has power over the dead. When Frodo's company eventually leave Tom's house, after a couple of pleasant days, they are almost immediately captured by wights on the Barrow Downs. Tom not only hears their calls for aid, but banishes the wights and cleanses the burial mound in which the hobbits were held. But his power extends beyond mastery of the much diminished Old Forest. When Tom asked to see the Ring of Power, Frodo passed it to him, willingly. Tom then put the ring on, but did not disappear. The ring also had no hold over him. When Frodo puts the ring back on, just to check that he was returned the genuine article, Tom can see Frodo, even though he is invisible to all else. Later on, in Imladris, Gandalf confided that Tom would likely have the power to keep the ring safe, but that he would not understand the importance of it and would likely cast it aside in carelessness one day. And then there comes Tom's origins. You might be forgiven that he is one of the Maiar, albeit a powerful one, not to succumb to the ring, something that even Gandalf feared. But Elrond and Gandalf themselves seem unsure of who exactly Tom Bombadil is, even though they have clearly crossed paths. Also, the Maiar, along with the Valar, came to Arda after it was created, but Tom says he was there from the very beginning. It might almost be that he is the soul of Arda, but yet he confines himself to such a small part of it. It is possible that he walked much further in ages past and considers himself to be in some sort of retirement now. This might explain his power and connection to the land at the same time as his presence in only a small part of it. This is one of the quotes from Tom, describing where he comes from. Eldest, that's what I am. Tom remembers the first raindrop and the first acorn. He knew the dark under the stars when it was fearless, before the Dark Lord came from outside. Tom says three things of interest here. Two of them speak of events that he preceded. The dark under the stars when it was fearless. This would be before the two trees of Valinor were created, as opposed to the period of dark between the consumption of the trees, which I discussed in the previous episode, and the creation of the sun and moon, which were far from fearless. Also, before the Dark Lord came from outside, would surely speak of Melkor's return from exile, as opposed to his first journey to Arda, where he was not yet spoken of as a Dark Lord. Both of these things could still see Thomas and Maya brought to Arda with the rest after its creation, but before the lands had been shaped to their intended design. However, he also regards himself as eldest. Elder than the mortal races would be a given, but describing yourself as eldest of anything is usually a comparison of yourself with others of your kind. To be an Ainur before the Maya were made or the Valar set foot upon Arda would be implied here. Unless, of course, Tom is lying, which would surely be impossible, or mistaken, or that we are mistaken about what he means. Even Goldberry finds it difficult to explain exactly who or what Tom is. When asked, she simply replies, "He is." Whatever the truth of the matter, the Old Forest is a small but foreboding part of Middle-earth that is not regarded as having any great importance by either the hobbits or the men of the region. Indeed, it is hardly regarded at all, other than the eerie silence when travelling through and the undercurrent of intangible menace that pervades the air. Yet it is home to a power the like of which you would not find anywhere else upon Middle-earth, or perhaps even the whole of Arda. I hope you enjoyed our visit to the Old Forest. If you did, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe to the channel to support further content, comment down below with your own thoughts, and share with others who may also be interested. Next week we will be hazarding a journey through the Barrow Downs. So until next time, I'll see you later.